Hello, my name is Jonathan Walston. Today is January 18th, 2026. This is for Ftt211, 1911 Armor, Advanced Armor course. Today we're going to be going over, I think I got the rails, the ejector, and the trigger, I think is what I came out with. So we're going to go over a few different things. The first thing would be the rails. The height and depth of the rails are extremely important because it's that engagement to your lower frame, and it basically is, it can affect the alignment. So as far as critical dimensions go, those have to be perfect, or else you're going to end up with a lot of play in that, and it can mess up your barrel alignment. It can mess up all kinds of stuff. So, uh, the the text here in the lecture here, the according to them, a person who's interested in tightening their slide to frame may have swaged the rails down. So, in other words, those can be adjusted or trimmed to make it for a tighter engagement. And if they are overdone, it can create uh, exceptional wear. Sorry, I'm fighting a toothache, by the way. Sorry. But the wear can be excessive and cause those problems I talked about. And uh, it keeps the slides movement in line with the bore. And As far as component relationships, that's really the major component relationship. So you can have excessive movement of the barrel, and you can have failure to feed, failure to chamber, and failure to lock, all of which can be bad. So the next thing we're going to go over is the ejector. So, but the ejector is crucial, obviously, for ejecting spent shell casings. So, the geometry is important. I recently just did a little bit of research on some 2011s, and one of the reasons why I ended up buying an Alpha Foxtrot Romulus is because the Gerson, other than obviously being made in Turkey, the Gerson specifically had ejection issues. And I saw multiple people complain of the same problems because the ejector geometry, the shells would, you'd have one go this way, one go straight up, one go this way, one go this way. So it's uh, it's it's pretty important. So if they've been altered, or it's been specifically if it's been overly altered, once again the text says that a heavy hand over takes too much material off in the wrong geometry, it can cause funky ejection patterns or failure to eject. Period. Um, so basically, those are the main side effects. Another thing that you should look for is if you're using steel cased ammunition, it can be pretty rough on an ejector. Uh, and it interacts with the frame and the cartridge. So the way it's seated in the frame, if it's like I said, if too much material is removed, it can not fit into the frame correctly or be too loose, or like I said, it can cause all those other problems. And then the other thing that I was going to go over was the, what was it? Was it the sear? Oh, I gotta remember what I had picked out back. For some reason, I didn't write it down, but yeah, the trigger. So the trigger is pretty crucial, multiple ways. It interacts with the disconnector, which can cause safety issues. If there's problems there, it could remove the ability to be safe while on safe, or even the sensitivity of the trigger can make the gun not drop safe, stuff like that. Uh, it's polished, so it's not like people are removing tons of material. Um, it does experience significant wear and tear damage, though, over time. But most of them come a little with a little bit more material, I guess, on them. So you have a break-in period, and then you got multiple thousands of rounds before that should be a problem. But it interacts with the frame, the magazine catch, and the disconnector. So um, basically, this trigger can cause inadvertent firing. It can cause loss of safety features if things are overdone, and it can interact with the inability to release the magazine. So there's several different things that it can interact with, but it's probably the most important as far as tuning the gun, so to speak, which I think we're going to be going over trigger jobs here soon and working on that. But yeah, it's pretty crucial, and the length of the foot can be adjusted in aftermarket triggers. If it's a solid trigger, some people can shave them down, make a shorter foot, which changes a lot as far as the way the gun feels, the length of pull, how far your grip angle, a bunch of different stuff. So pretty crucial. But at the end of the day, these components all can experience normal wear and tear, but most people are not firing their gun enough to really see that. It only typically becomes a problem when you are modifying the firearm. So a gunsmith should be make sure that we have a good reference for accurate dimensions so that we can check these areas when we take apart one of these guns and go from there. So specifically, that's what you should focus on, is tearing these down, getting an idea what the factory minimum specs are, these critical dimensions, and making sure that you're able to tell the difference between something that's be out of spec versus something that's in spec. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what matters.